I don't think I'm sharing my screen. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen. Where was that? I see the chat part, but where was the, oh, this is probably viewers right here, ain't it? Hey, probably so. There's a different thing I was looking at the other day. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, right here. Okay. Well. Put that off to the side. All right, we are live. Let's take a look at the market. Market's having a pullback today. S&P started off slightly down from its close. Opened at 662. So it was down from the close from yesterday. It ran up for all-time highs, and then it's pulled down. That don't look right from what the arrow said there. Why is a big red candle? It opened. What? I'm a little confused about the daily candle because it opened down here on the 5-minute chart. So why the daily candle would it be? Yeah, I don't get that. Whatever. I don't get that. On the daily candle, it's showing it opened up here and dropped. Let me check my Robinhood. Or I like to use Webull on my phone. It's actually a little easier. Or it looks a little nicer anyway. I think it's easier to read the chart. Okay, so it did open up there. The daily candle is correct. I don't know what it's talking about on the 5-minute candle. Or, yeah, the 5-minute candles. Why it's showing it open down here. It opened up here. Oh. Gotcha. This was a whole new day. Okay. That makes sense. So this was all yesterday. I didn't see the break. Well, you don't see a break because it opened right where it closed. Got it. Okay, so it opened right here for today, right where it closed yesterday. And then it's just been going down all day. Yeah, not looking too hot. I know Powell was talking earlier. Jerome Powell was talking earlier and saying a bunch of nonsense, so he's probably moving markets a good bit. I'll get the CNBC business on my phone. See, I'll have to keep the volume off, but yesterday, Trump was doing a press conference talking about Tylenol being bad, basically. So, wonder did that have any effect on Moderna? I mean, they probably don't sell Tylenol, but still. No, not really. See how MSTR is doing. Pretty bad. Good thing I sold the calls. I did buy puts though. I was thinking it would get down to 320. So, but Bitcoin's been hanging in there. Take a look at Bitcoin. Oh no, they're not hanging in there any longer. Yes, yesterday I sold my calls on MSTR and I bought puts on MSTU, which is 2x MSTR, and Bitcoin was hanging in there for a while. So I made that somewhere in here, expecting this bottom to fall out, which it did here, but then it did recover pretty nicely. Fell down to new lows again though, but then recovered pretty nicely again, and then I wasn't sure how to interpret this, although it is kind of drooping down, so looked bearish. It was after a recovery though, which has some bullish implications. However, the recovery still really wasn't, only brought it up just to, the top of where it was falling to begin with, so it wasn't that strong recovery. And now the bottom's falling out, and it's about to break. It just broke 112 again. Now it's right at 112. So yeah, this is not a buying opportunity for Bitcoin. I think it's a great price, but I think that you can wait a little bit because, and a little bit in terms of could be a day, couple days. It does. It's hard to say, but you have to watch the chart. But right now, it looks more like it's going to go down to 110, 109, 107, something like that before it turns around. Like I said yesterday, I think once it does that, it'll turn around pretty strong. But yeah, Bitcoin is down to 112 right now, and not really looking pretty. Not looking pretty at all. It's already rebounded off these levels a couple times. You're going to kind of run out of buyers at these levels and fall for some new low, I think, coming up pretty soon. We're on the 5-minute chart here, but the 1-minute chart would be a little interesting. On the 1-minute chart, it's not looking like it's catching. Have a little bounce back here and instantly followed by new lows, and now we're consolidating sideways. So Bitcoin's about to poop its pants. I should maybe buy some more. I think I might sell my SPIX since how's SPY looking? S&P. S&P is looking like maybe it can recover or hold up anyway. It's showing some signs of recovery right now. I should, if S&P recovers to these levels or something, maybe it'd be worth selling it for some more MSTU puts. Although I think I have quite a few MSTU puts. I could probably sit still, but I'm not sure if these SVIX calls are a good one to be holding overnight. We'll get these opened in separate widgets here so we can see them both at the same time, I suppose. We'll get SPY. SPY and Bitcoin side by side. Yeah, this looks terrible for Bitcoin. This 1 minute chart, so get rid of these. The market's 1 minute chart doesn't look so bad. This looks real bad for Bitcoin. I'm gonna look at it on my phone real quick before it just seems a little bit more. On my phone I can have it sideways and it's a little bit easier to analyze the chart, but take a look at it real quick before I start trading it. But yeah, looks the same, dropping like a rock. And yeah, yep, that looks terrible. I should do it right now. Okay, I should do it right now. CNBC's headline right now is that silver is at the highest level since 2011. I've been preaching for silver ever since for the last few weeks. I think silver is a great investment. Okay. MSTR is dropping like a rock right now. Let's see if I can get these MSTU puts for the same price as I was trying to get them, or as I was getting them yesterday, though. No, maybe I won't. They're up quite a bit from where they were yesterday. I was thinking they would be worth 90 cents. I don't know. I might sit still. Although, I don't think I want to hold the SVIX. Shorten the VIX. SVIX shorts the VIX. The volatility index, it shorts it. Bitcoin's having a little small recovery right now. We'll see if it gets met by a bunch of selling pressure. That's what I would figure will happen. Market is looking pretty good. I mean, it's down a good bit today, but like right now in the 1 minute, it looks like it's having a little recovery. Moderna is dropping. It's down 2% today. AGQ for silver is up 0.5%. Open is down another 11% today. I didn't want to take puts a few days ago. I thought shorting it, straight up shorting it would be good though when it was at $10. I know a lot of you guys can't short though, like can't pure short. Yes, Bitcoin had a big green 1 minute candle. It's getting met by some selling pressure a little bit. Market's taking in some selling pressure. Switch to 5 minutes, see what's looking. Market was just dropped all day, pretty much steady drop all day. Oil is up a little. UCO is 2x the return of daily index of futures contract of WTI crude. So it's long oil, 2x. And it is up 2%. Yep, look at that. Bitcoin had a big green candle here and then followed by selling pressure that takes it even lower than where the green started. So that's the story with Bitcoin the last couple days. It's bearish and green is met with even more red. Market now, the whole rebound isn't looking as good now, kind of looking like it's going to drop a bit further. So yeah, I mean, I like Bitcoin. I like MSTR as a Bitcoin play, but right now I wouldn't be playing it. In fact, I've got puts on it. I'd be shorting it. I am shorting it basically with puts, and I'll be looking to get back in maybe around 109, maybe 110, 107. Let it drop and see when the chart looks like it's going to turn around and not just consolidate and drop further. It could be the time at any time because, at any time there could be some whales that recognize this is a great price to buy at. I think it is a great buying opportunity, but the chart right now is indicating that it's going to want to drop further, so I am going to let that happen. It's a little hard to figure out where to put the money, but silver is usually decent, or silver is like a good play for safety and return on investment. So that'd be a spot I'd be looking to plug in some money. Silver, one catalyst about silver, they benefit with the like from solar panels and indirectly from AI and stuff, and so it's something to look into. I was talking to ChatGPT about it the other day, and yeah, it's probably one that is going to be in demand. Market's trying to hold these levels right now. S&P is. Bitcoin did end up bouncing again. having a little bit of a recovery, but so far it's not high enough to make me think that anything's turning around. It hasn't gotten to this point here for a higher high, so we'll see. Pretty strong bounce right now, but as you see, we've had a lot of bounces that were stronger than that, and every time on this 1 minute chart followed by negative, followed by selling. We are getting close to this high here. That would be somewhat telling if it gets there and breaks over. This is kind of an important moment here for Bitcoin. Check my Robinhood and see if anything else interesting going on in the market. See how gold is doing. Gold is up again. Gold is up almost 1%. GLD is anyways. Tesla's down 1.5%. 1.5% down for Tesla. Okay, even just getting to this level and not rejecting strongly is fairly bullish, but yeah. It's fairly bullish. But we'll see. It's not that big of a level to be breaking, though. I mean, it was still just a high off the cliff that it was falling on. And it hasn't broken it yet either. It got up to it, and it held there without immediate selling pressure, and so that's a little bit of a bullish sign, but the market's still holding up. It'd be interesting to see which way the market breaks from here, from this range. If it breaks down, then I would expect new daily lows. If it breaks up, then it'll probably hold this level for the day. Looks like it's going to break to the downside at this point. Maybe a good time for me to sell my SFIX. That play didn't work out too well, I suppose. Not sure what I'd put my money into. Maybe AGQ for silver. Maybe more puts on something like MSTU. However, they're up a good bit today, so I would not be getting near the price I got yesterday. Yeah, it's time to sell my SFIX either way, though. Okay, just sold all my SFIX, $20.58 a share. I got an okay price on a market order. Now, Bitcoin is going down again. It very well might go for new lows. And now these lows are the low. Oh no, they're okay. So 111,622 is actually so this low isn't the total low, but it's close. Yeah, it fell down to 111,622, rebounded, and so those lows we're looking at on the 1 minute charts right here. But if it breaks that, it's probably not going to catch at there either. So if it breaks this low, it probably won't catch at 622 either. And it's not looking good. Important spots right here for Bitcoin and for SPY in terms of where it's going to be heading for the rest of the day. See if we got any viewers. I doubt it. One viewer. Oh, wonder if it's... No, I don't think it's counting me because, well, I'm not viewing it, but if I was, it would be. But earlier it had zeros across the board yesterday, so I don't think it's counting me. And it just had zeros too earlier. And I'm not viewing it, but I don't know if it'd be counting me. Maybe just because. Well, viewer, leave a chat and ask a question. Post a ticker. I can look into it for you if you'd like. I gotta find a way to get the chat on the screen while I'm... A better way to be able to see that, perhaps. Oh, maybe... Maybe something like that works. Ain't so bad, I guess. I think this thing's saying I have 0 viewers, though, so I'm not sure. It's an important level for the market, and it looks like it's going to fall down, go down for more. Important spot for Bitcoin as well, and it's giving mixed signals. It did just fall off a cliff, so you might not expect it to just tumble right away. But it certainly could, though. It wasn't that steep of a cliff. But we got some green candles, so perhaps it is looking for a recovery. The market's going to go down, though. A lot of times that takes Bitcoin down with it. Yesterday they went in opposite directions, but if the market has the floor fall out of it, the bottom fall out of it, and goes for new lows for the day, and Bitcoin probably will too. We'll see. Is there what can I snag up here? So I think MSTR will fall to at least 460, which would make these worth 40 cents, almost a double up. These worth 90 cents, not anywhere near a double up. It's at 496. 23 cents on a put. A $5 put. Maybe. It's close. I mean, if it moves how I expect it to, it would be in the money, but it's a little risky and a little bit pricey. Might be worth it, though. I think if I can get them for 20, it would be worth it. I'm trying to get them for 20. The ask is 25. Ask on 5-cent increments. Let's see. Got an order in there to get MSTU $5 puts expiring this Friday for 20 cents a share. I've still got these 650 MSTU calls, a bunch of them. Had them from before yesterday, on last week when Bitcoin was looking bullish, and can't really sell them at this point. Well, maybe they are going to be worth 25. Maybe I should update the orders for 25. And it probably does go down to 460. Should make them worth 40 cents. Pretty good return. Over 50%. Bitcoin's looking bad. The market's looking bad. It's probably a good idea to do that, I think. Okay, I'll do it. Kind of hate to, though. Because maybe I could just do the 550. If it's selling for 60 cents, that'd be 50% gain as well. And it's safer. And we'll update this. Maybe you get better than 25 too sometimes. Let's see, what did I get them for? Cost $5.43 for 22. Not sure what that means. $5.43 for 22. So I got them for just shy of $25. I got a few of them for 24. But the bottom's falling out, and so I don't know. It feels like it was a little expensive, but it's not too bad. I mean, it's not too bad. It's $5 calls, bottom at 25 cents, and it's at $4.95 right now, and gonna be dropping. So it's probably decent. I mean, I think it's a moneymaker. I like to hit more of a home run on a risky option, but maybe a double up though. There well might be a double up. Okay, the bottom's falling out of Bitcoin right now. The bottom is the stock market. SPY is running down to its daily low, and Bitcoin just dropped below its little low here. Still not quite at this low from, that was last night at 11 o'clock. Still not quite, well, these are central times, mind you, but it's a daily low essentially, and yeah, I don't see this price saving the day. I think Bitcoin's dropping now for more, and dropping below this point and take it to the next spot, which we were looking at yesterday. I think there's a good chance that it doesn't go this low. It catches for a higher low. This is what some people maybe would call head and shoulders too, I guess. But yeah, you have this moment here where it was chop and decided to go for more, and then also caught itself. So 109,000 would certainly save itself. If you're just looking at the chart, yeah, it would definitely could go for lower low and catch itself anywhere in here where it was chopping, but even down to here. But I don't think that investors are going to let Bitcoin get that low. I wouldn't. I mean, I'll let it do whatever it wants to do. I'm not, but if I was the big money making the charts, I wouldn't make the chart. I wouldn't be sending it down there. So as Bitcoin goes down, MSTR is going down too. Which is why I bought the MSTU puts. MSTU does 2x Bitcoin. I saw someone on YouTube the other day talking about MSTR, and they were totally misunderstanding it. They were talking about its price, and they were saying, at one point a while back, it was worth less than the amount of Bitcoin it owned. But they weren't, and they were saying that this is just because, okay, Bitcoin's rebounding hard. They were saying this was just because it was all about how investors felt about it and just this and that. But investors, especially with a stock as popular as MSTR, they're not going to let obvious value like that go. What this guy was saying was that the amount of Bitcoin that they owned is as if they had no debt, and then for them to be less than that, he was saying you could literally get a 10% discount. But that's not how it was. The Bitcoin they owned, most of it's with debt, and that's why MSTR is leveraged more. If Bitcoin goes up, MSTR is making even more money than what the return on Bitcoin would be because it's with debt, it's with borrowed money. And if Bitcoin goes down, then they lose even more. And hypothetically, back in the time when he was talking, if Bitcoin would have continued going down, MSTR would have ended up being bankrupt. And so it's not as simple as they have this much Bitcoin. You got to keep in mind that they have debt, and a lot of the Bitcoin was with borrowed money. He was also talking about how Michael Saylor a few days ago was talking about what would he do if he couldn't pay the dividends or something like that. How would he do it? And he mentioned that if he had to, he would even sell Bitcoin, which was a little newsworthy because the idea is never sell Bitcoin. And this guy was attributing those comments to MSTR price going up and saying that all investors, I guess, like that he would do whatever it takes. And so this it's the same guy. He's missing the point again. That was the same day that Bitcoin ran up to 117,000 just a couple days ago. That's why MSTR is going up. Okay, well, when the market got down to its low for the day, it rebounded fairly strong, but it's probably just a temporary bounce because just the fact that it even got back to it is not a good sign, and had a little bit of a bounce, but now it's having 3 consecutive red candles after that, and Bitcoin. What were we looking at here? Okay, so for Bitcoin, here's where it did that recovered, dropped. So Bitcoin's bounced a little strong after falling for new daily lows, but it's being met by some selling pressure as well. I wouldn't expect that to save it because, I mean, it just went for new daily lows, so I don't see why the tables would turn now. Sort of following a little bit of the market kind of path, so. Yeah, Bitcoin is dropping again, getting really close to that new low that it just put in. It still hasn't broke the one from last night around midnight, but it's very close. Very close, and it probably will break it for new lows. Oh, having some divergence from the market though. Bitcoin going down. The market's actually recovering right after that third red candle. It posted 2 strong green candles, so we'll see. Looks like some indecisiveness from investors. I mean, it was just chopping at that price where it's at now, and it steadily fell to the daily lows, and now, like I said, back at the price it was chopping at. So, I mean, what changed? Check Robinhood, see if anything, see what's popping off the mouth, anything else. If the market will go for new lows, Bitcoin will go down hard. Open down over 11% today. That's a bummer. I had to miss out on that one. It held that $10 range pretty impressively for a while. Open will be one to keep on the radar one way or the other. Nvidia having a really rough day, down 3%. It had some good days lately. They had some news of a partnership, down 3% today. Apple down 0.5%. Meta's falling like a rock. Meta's down 1.25%. Tesla's down almost 2%. Surprised the market's not down more. SPY's only down 0.5%. Must be the small cap keeping it going. China is down again today. Yang is up 3.31%. That's a 3x ETF, bear ETF. MSTR is only down 1.5%. It could be down a lot more, I would think. Yeah, Bitcoin bounced, met by selling pressure to push it right back to where it was, and kind of the same. So Bitcoin chart looks pretty bearish, and the bottom's going to fall out, I am pretty sure. However, it's especially bearish because the market has sustained a pretty reasonable bounce. One thing that could maybe push Bitcoin even lower to some of those lower ranges we're looking at on the chart is if the market crashes a good bit. But something would have to happen for that to happen. One thing that could be is if between inflation data and job data, if the Fed, starts to decide that they're not going to cut anymore this year, or if the investors, forecast that the Fed is not going to cut anymore this year, that could tank the market. And that's not far off. Just a little bit of data will do that, because already there's only like one or two more Fed officials that were in favor of cutting to more than not cutting at all. Like there was a lot of dissenters for no more cuts at all this year. There we go. I mean, this makes sense because, it got to a range it was just at, and it just slowly decided, we don't want to, we're not buying, we're selling, price is lower, and get right back up to the same price. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for it to get rejected. It would make less sense for it to change course. Like I say, what changed? Bitcoin's about to go for new lows. those puts are going to be going up. Those puts I bought. I turned to CNBC is just interviewing someone about nonsense. Maybe not exactly nonsense, but not going to be too helpful, I don't think. The annoying thing here is if I click on something, for some reason it changes all the widgets. These other two. It changes both their tickers to the one I click on, and then I can only switch. If I switch one back, it switches them both. I have to close it out and open a new one. There ain't much to look at anyway, I don't think. Could look at open. I don't think any of it's really worth it. This is, I think, what the best value I can provide on screen right now is probably just these two charts. This captures the market. Bitcoin going for new lows, like I've been predicting. I'm a Bitcoin believer. I like Bitcoin, but I'm shorting it right now. I got MSTU puts. I'll be very happy to get MSTU calls or MSTR calls when we come out of this little bear run here. And it's okay. Falls for more. Maybe I'll be looking around here even. Yeah, that'll be 109. 110 is even a nice juicy number. If it catches at 110, I would say if it catches strongly at 110, that's kind of bullish to me. I mean, falling down there, isn't the best, but that's like a nice spot to catch itself, where it's clearly a higher low than this. In a spot where it easily could be going down for more. If it catches itself strongly from here, like this, or like this, that would be a nice spot to buy, I think. And I think when it turns around from this little bear session it's having, that the recovery, there'll be a good opportunity to make some money on the recovery. I think it'll recover strong, and I think it'll finish the year at all-time highs. I don't think this will be the all-time high at the end of the year. The market went down, and now it's steadying out here. Now, this is a reasonable spot to be steadying out. This is a price that it was steadied out a few times already before. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it, consolidates for a little bit and ends up going lower. Let's get back to the 1 minute here, because the bottom is falling out, and I think let me see here. No, okay, it's 622, so it still hasn't gotten quite to that 622 mark from midnight last night, but it's getting closer and closer, and momentum's not on its side. I don't know how it could be when it's falling down to it. So the story is the market's been down all day, but it's holding this price level. The big names look like they're down quite a bit. And then Bitcoin's been struggling. And actually, Bitcoin was doing okay for today, right up until this point, which was at 12:53 Central Time. So really just about an hour ago. Yeah, it was doing okay, and then about an hour ago, I had a big red hourly candle. It's kind of the same, as what I was saying yesterday for the most reliable indicator on the chart. Not an actual indicator, but a way to read the chart. It drops heavy, sideways. Look for it to drop more. If it goes up heavy, sideways, look for it to go up more. If it's going to turn things around after the drop, it needs to not go sideways. So this was a little promising here, but then you got this action here, and boom, the buyers run out. They're buying it up, buying it up, buying it up. Buyers run out. Now we're just watching it fall for new daily lows again. I'd like to pull MSTR right here, but I guess what I can do is open it in a widget. If I click it right here, it will it'll mess with all the other widgets. But I'll just open this widget and then I'll minimize it. I'm done with it. There we go. That works out. So this is MSTR. I typically don't really look at it too much. A little bit, but looking at the Bitcoin chart is, it moves more so off of Bitcoin. So, but it does give you some good targets, price targets on where to be looking. So anyway, for today, it started around right here, and it just really sideways until Bitcoin was going down, down big. It's been consolidating sort of sideways, but more so down than anything. It hasn't actually went quite for new daily lows yet, even though Bitcoin did, so probably be watching out for that. And my price target was here at 320 on my puts, is what I was counting on. I would not be surprised if it goes for lower. Maybe that is the 320 mark. God, the moves are just huge. The moves are huge. But one more look at the 1 minute chart and then we'll get out of it. Well, it's holding up. Is Bitcoin holding up? No. Bitcoin's not holding up. I think MSTR is holding up a little bit better than it should be, and it has, I think it has some making up to do. If Bitcoin keeps crashing down, wouldn't be surprised to see MSTR do some making up, catching up on the price action. Because it could be down a lot more today and yesterday, I would say. Okay, Bitcoin had a nice green candle. Doesn't look like it's anything that's going to turn the trend around. And the market, it chopped in that reasonable area. It tried to go a little higher, met with selling pressure, and now it's at the very bottom of that recent chop area, and so it's going for lower. Just the fact that it keeps testing these lower marks would indicate to me that you're going to run out of buyers soon and go for new daily lows. Okay, I'll check the chat. Got anybody chatting it up in the chat? No, we do not. It says we have one viewer at least. Feel free, post something in the chat. I will be happy to answer it. I'll look at whatever ticker you want. Give you my opinion on whatever you're interested in. 5 viewers. Well, look at that. Hey, we're making progress. Yeah, the market looks like it's going to break for new daily lows, I think. It didn't hold this range right here that it was chopping at, as I sort of expected. Yes, you could say these are heavy support areas, but you can't just keep testing support and counting on it. Eventually, you run out of buyers. And just the fact that it keeps testing it is just bearish. Bitcoin's trying to hold this level, but I mean, it dropped to here and it's consolidating. So I wouldn't expect it to hold the level because it should have had a stronger rebound than that if it was going to. Need a better way to be able to see the chat. I wonder how to get this stupid sign off of here. Can I even chat in there? Oh, I guess I can. MSTR. This is the 1 minute. So MSTR is testing its daily lows, which makes sense since Bitcoin's at its daily low. And I think MSTR has been holding up better than what it could be. I like MSTR long term, but right now I wouldn't be owning it. And sometimes you get people, oh, I like it long term, I'm owning it long term, even though I think the people on CNBC say this sometimes. Oh, I think it's going to go down in the short term, but I'm long term holding it. Well, I don't get that. I mean, if you think it's going to go down in the short term and you want to own it long term, just sell it now and buy it back in a week. Buy it back whenever it looks like it's going to turn around. There's no reason to not get the best price you can. SPY here is selling pretty hard. It's about 6 or so red candles in a row, and now it's testing the daily low pretty heavy. So market's not looking too hot by any means, for sure. We'll get CNBC business back up. I'll let you know if they're saying anything. They're talking to some guy again about nonsense. It's live with Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, he's going to give his opinion. I'll probably save that for the final hour of trading, which is coming up in about 5 minutes. Overnight, I mean, going into tomorrow, the market's probably okay. What are these stupid things? The market's probably okay to hold on to SFIX. SFIX is risky. It's probably going to be up tomorrow, but it's risky with all the room to the downside. Owning the market in general is probably fine, but a lot of room to the downside. It is extended. However, it does seem like the market and everything's fairly strong and have a pullback day to day. You're probably safe in it. There's probably some better places to be in. Silver, I think, would be one. With AGQ. That'd be a nice place to set your money. And I'm going to ride out the Bitcoin puts. They're MSTR puts, but it's a bet against Bitcoin. I'm going to ride them out going into tomorrow. As bearish as the chart is looking for today, that's why I'll be mostly holding overnight, I would say, which is definitely risky as well. But the chart does look like crap. It's been looking like crap all day and yesterday, and I've been accurately predicting it to continue to go down, even though I'm a Bitcoin believer. So the thing about overnight is things can change overnight, but I think I'll stick with it. Get a better look at the Bitcoin chart if it was wider. Maybe look at the 1 hour version. We'll zoom it out a bit. Yeah, so right here, I mean, all this, everything's looking good and looking good. It didn't it went for new highs, but not like all that high. And then the pullback, it pulled down quite a bit, a lot more than you would have liked it to. It would have been a lot better if it was catching here or here. Pulled back quite a bit, and then only slightly upward on retracing, and then slightly downward in a consolidation here. A terrible sign. And this was a sign that it was going to drop. Drops, consolidates, not a rebound, just a consolidation. That's a sign it's dropping for more. Drop for more, and now we have a little bit more of an extended period of consolidation, but it's the same thing. Dropped and consolidating. A lot of times Bitcoin goes up and it consolidates sideways, just like this, but opposite. And that's a great time to think that it's going to go for more. And this is kind of the same thing, just the opposite. So overnight, yeah, I feel good about being on the short end of this overnight and letting it fall for more. when it does fall for more, if it does fall for more, I've already pointed out some areas on the daily chart. This range was a range of support around 110. Basically, a lot of support ranges through here, though. This obviously is a big one, and yeah, 108 in here, 109 is a big one. So I wouldn't be surprised to see investors chomp at the bit once it gets below 110 to recognizing that it's a good price. It's a good deal. Nice price to snag up some Bitcoin. Back at the 1 minute chart, and even here I would, well, it's pushing for higher now. If it doesn't break out of this little area right here, which it's trying to right now, but if it can't do that, then even this is pretty much just a consolidation after this drop. And you can expect to drop for more too. If it does pull up and pulls back down, it's still like if a bounce back is followed by pulling back down to where it was, then that's bearish. So yeah, so this is pretty interesting. See how SPY is doing. Okay, S&P is recovering. Okay, so S&P went for, while we were away, it went for new daily low, just barely, and it's bouncing back strong. But I would not expect this strong bounce back to have legs because it just went for new daily low. And it's just like the same principle. Like, what changed? Nothing changed. It went for new daily low. So, maybe it's a buying opportunity. You get a couple strong couple strong minutes of buying, but ultimately, they slowly, methodically decided it was worth less. And so nothing's going to change their mind right now. I wouldn't expect this to have any legs. It'll come back down to here. Bitcoin on the 1 minute chart did sort of break out of the little consolidation zone, but not much. It hasn't gotten past the old support, which is now the resistance on the 1 minute chart. And this is an important moment right here. So far, it's red on this 1 minute candle, and if it stays red, if the next one's red, it's not too good for Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's going to turn things around, which I don't really foresee it turning things around coming into the previous low the way it did, but if it is going to, it needs to get above this level at about 111,900. That was the old support. It's the new resistance. So we'll see if it can get above that. It's right at it. Very close right now. It's not rejecting right away up at the peak. It's going sideways up at the top of this little mini run on the 1 minute chart. Gives you a little sense of life, but I'm not counting on it. Especially the market, like I had predicted, is falling down more now. It only made sense. How you're going to keep testing the lows and then go for new lows and then think that everything's going to turn around. It turns around for 2 minutes because it made a new low, and so you got, it could be a buying opportunity in terms of things are cheaper, but and also not that many people maybe want to sell at that point right away, but yeah, I mean, the overall tell is it made new lows for a reason. It was testing the daily lows, and it made a new low for a reason. Okay, Bitcoin did break above that level. Let's see if it can hold on to it. See if it doesn't hold on to it, how strong does it reject? Does it just go sideways? If it does just go sideways, is there an opportunity for this thing to be turning things around right now? That does look okay. That would look okay. And turning things around, if it does, could just be getting back to this level, which still leaves you not sure which way it's going to go. However, if it did get to this level, the way to get an idea is if it gets to this level and then it goes sideways, then you can expect, I would expect it to go higher. If it gets to this level and it pulls down sharply, then it probably isn't going to go higher. And that just shows, what people think about it once it gets to that level. Like, yeah, if it pulls down sharply, sure, it's kind of obvious, I guess, that, it's further away from that level and stuff. But even right away when you see it going down sharply, it just shows it shows like how strongly the investors, and not how strongly the investors feel about it at that price level, but also like not how strongly just each individual investor thinks, but as a whole, like which side has a lot more investors on. There's a lot more investors that think it should be selling, or that are selling at that moment. And if it just goes sideways, then it's even, and being even is a bullish sign at that point if it gets up to here, because, recovering up to here, definitely a spot it could be getting sold. So if it's even, it could be bullish, but to turn things around just like that, maybe. It could be. It could be. It's been looking kind of bearish lately, and I didn't expect that this low would hold up after retesting right away. It just fell from this level that it was at. Fell pretty strongly. So that seemed pretty bearish. So we'll see. So far, it did break above that low resistance level, but it's being met with heavy selling pressure, and it is back below that resistance level. So a bit of a reversal, and it's reversing pretty hard. Okay, I'll check back into CNBC Business, see if they've got anything intelligent to say. Just kidding, but we'll see if they have anything useful. Closing bell. Last hour of trading. How to play the AI CapEx boom. Oh, they're talking about the Russell here. Russell's down 0.3% today. It's up there near all-time highs, though, or at all-time highs. Market worked its way right back down to the new daily lows, trying to bounce off it again, but they keep maybe trying to do these little bounces that are probably always going to be met with selling pressure for the rest of the day. So I expect it'll continue that way for the day. We're still positive, yes, just like tech, it's kind of stretched on a short-term basis, but these things move into multi-year cycles. And when we look back over the last 15 years, gold is still really underperforming the overall market, and there's some tailwinds as far as central bank buying, maybe a little bit lower interest rates, geopolitical uncertainty, and the technical trends are still favorable. So we want to stick with that as a portfolio diversifier, within a balanced portfolio. Still having its best year since the late 70s, a multiple of the S&P. They're talking about gold on CNBC Business, having its best year since the late 70s. Gold has been having a hell of a year. I like silver a little bit more, but gold's having a hell of a year. My problem with gold is the price is actually, the gold, has some practical industrial uses, but if you look into it, it doesn't actually have like nearly as much as what it's valued for. And then also, even jewelry uses, no. And so the majority of the value is coming from, currency, essentially, which that's very, very risky, I would say. Because what if people just decided, like, well, we don't need gold to back up our currency, we'll use Bitcoin instead, something like that. Well, then gold will lose a lot of value. When the majority of value is just like because it backs up our currency and it can be used as currency, but it's not actually worth that much, and it doesn't actually have to be used as currency. It's just like kind of a consensus people are deciding it is. Then you're just relying on people continuing to decide that it's worth. That it's a form of currency. If it ever is not a form of currency, the price collapses. And when you've got Bitcoin, I don't know why to me, it doesn't make all that much sense to have gold be a form. It'll always be a form of currency because it's got value as just an asset, but not near as much value as what it's valued at. So I like silver a lot more. Silver has a lot of value in industrial practical use, and it's going to be in more and more demand. It's got to play with the AI chips and with solar panels and some things like that. So they need silver, and I think silver will continue to be in increased demand. So here we go. Bitcoin, as it had a pretty good run, pretty good bounce back on the 1 minute chart. It was met by a huge 1 minute candle, and it's an important level here, but if it goes for lower, it's really not a good sign for Bitcoin in the short term. I don't think it's going to go for higher. It could, but right now it's struggling sideways after this big pull down, after the big retrace, and I think chances are it goes lower. Like if we're talking from this point to this point, just this little area. Wherever it breaks from this little area first is pretty important. About 933 and 866. Especially if the market goes lower, it'll take it down with it, and the market is looking like it's going to go lower to me. It keeps bouncing when it gets to these, daily lows, but it's just met by selling pressure, putting it right back at the daily lows. Eventually, whoever's buying this up real heavy as a buying opportunity, eventually those people run out. They're not, that's how it always pretty well works. It goes the other way too. If you're poking a resistance line and you keep getting met with selling pressure, but you keep getting back to the resistance line, well, the people that see it as a selling opportunity, eventually the sellers run out. I did see I had a thumbs up on this. I appreciate that. Very helpful for the channel. I'm just getting started. This is my second stream. Thank you very much for the like. Anybody out there that could like and subscribe it, it's very much appreciated. Like and subscribe. It was probably a little weird way to say that, but if you want to like the video, subscribe to the channel, very much appreciated as I'm just getting started. If there's something different I can do to provide you guys more value, let me know. I see this being helpful for perhaps you're at work and you want to be in the know, but you can't be on your phone looking at the charts all the time. Maybe you can play this, and just with my audio, you will have an idea of where things are going. And I'll also give my analysis, and you can take that for what you will. So far, it's been so good yesterday and today. That I can do, the trend lines are definitely helpful when you're reading charts. Especially if you look at long-term trend lines on like the S&P, it's actually pretty remarkable how those pan out, and it does make a lot of sense. Is the degree at which things will increase. It kind of plots that out. And it also plots out if it's, say, a bear trend line when you're breaking out of that and stuff like this. But a lot of those other indicators, I'm not saying they're not helpful, but I don't think they're as useful as just looking at the chart, thinking about what that price action means, and going with it from there. If you look at the daily chart on Bitcoin through the years, say right here, run up sideways for so long. Yeah, it was a long time to be sideways for sure. So you may be in and whatever, but like especially once it's like testing the high, like right around here where it keeps poking at the high and going sideways, it looks like it's going for more. So every time it goes up and then consolidates sideways, it's a big sign that it's going for more. Here would be one. Up and then it's consolidating, it drops, you might be cautious then, but then it pulls back to where it was and goes sideways. And then here, all these 2 points, big buying opportunity. This as well, it goes up and then it's sideways. Now here is different. It goes up and it pulls down a bunch and it pulls down a bunch. But then once it gets back to where it was and now it has a few sideways days, that's a buying opportunity again. Now here you see again it's different. When it gets up, it pulls down a whole bunch. But it gets back, but it pulls down a bunch. And these are signs that you're not seeing the sideways consolidation. And even here when it does consolidate sideways, but it's not at the highs. So that's not so good. And so just, I think looking at the price action and seeing what does it mean is the most useful thing. Sometimes it might throw you off. Like here, it goes down a whole bunch. Now it's sideways, and even right here, it's really looking like it's going to fall and collapse. You might be on the short end, but you have to be fluid and adjust, because once it bounces here sideways and goes for more, now you got to realize that betting against it wasn't the right play, and now you get the opposite, where it gets to the top end of this, sideways for a moment, looks like it's going to break for more. Here would be a good one. Pull, has a decent run up and it's sideways. If it wasn't going to go up for more, it probably would have been pulling down more. Sideways and up. Now, where are we at the current moment? Up, sideways, but fell, back up. But immediately, instead of being back up and sideways, it's back up and it's down. And then it's up and it's down. And when it chopped here sideways and fell down, it wasn't anywhere close to all-time highs or to the previous high. So this is not such a good sign. And that's why I've been on the short end of it lately. I will be very happy when I can get back into the long end of it, because I like Bitcoin. But I'm going to make the bets based on where they're at the current moment. This is the 1 minute chart now, and had a decent bounce where it did break some minor resistance points in a way, but it immediately reversed back to where it was. Again, tried it again, and it's immediately reversing back down. And so this is overall bearish. It tried going higher, couldn't sustain it. Every time it gets higher, it's met with equal or more selling pressure. So now this is bearish, and probably before the end of the day, you're going to have new daily lows. Especially if the market goes for new daily lows. You should pull it down with it. And I mentioned this earlier, but one thing to really keep an eye on that could take the market down is if the forecast starts to change from having 2 more rate cuts for the rest of the year to no more. There was already a lot of dissenters calling for no more rate cuts for the rest of the year. The dot plot did forecast 2 more, but only barely. It only barely edged out the dissenters by 1 or 2 votes. And if job data comes in strong, and if they're still worried about inflation data, that could definitely change the sentiment. However, next spring, there's going to be a new Fed governor, or somebody's going to replace Powell next spring, and it's going to be, someone that Trump appoints. They're going to be very dovish, meaning that they are going to be in favor of having low rates, and so that also is going to start to get priced in, probably after these remaining 2 get priced in, though. But another 6 months of slightly higher interest rates, another half point higher. I don't know that really kills things, but it would probably move markets. But once markets start kind of looking towards the spring with the Powell replacement, that'll be pretty optimistic. That may even start happening before the end of the year. But everybody knows it's coming already, so it should kind of already be priced in. One of the leading officials for it one of the officials now He had very dovish stance on this most recent meeting. He called for, I think, 50 basis point cut and called for a lot more. They were actually joking about the dot plots being so all over the place, mainly because of him. So he's pretty dovish, and so that was a sign to come, what you could expect starting next spring, which the markets would love it. I think this means I've had 8 viewers, but nobody viewing right now, I believe. Looks to me like everything's going to go for new daily lows, or at least close. Testing it for sure. Yeah, Bitcoin's not looking good on the 1 minute. It's going down. I would be surprised if it can hold this price. Stock market's not looking good either. Testing the daily lows as well. However, the stock market was at all-time highs going into today. So, relatively outside of today, it's still very high. Bitcoin, on the other hand, even outside of today, is not really all that high. See how MSTR is holding up. It did eventually go for daily lows. I still think it could be collapsing for more. It looks to me like there's a lot of investors that don't think the price, a lot of investors that are seeing it as a buying opportunity when it's down here at the daily lows. And so there might be enough of them to keep it from falling through. Now Bitcoin, I don't think I would say the same for Bitcoin. I don't know what the deal is with Bitcoin. Is it because of the pending civil war situation with Bitcoin? They've got a couple competing deals. I'd have to look more into that to see what they're even talking about, but I mean, I don't know why else Bitcoin's getting sold and beat down. The fundamentals and the catalysts for Bitcoin, I think, are great. Always more increased adoption over time. More and more firms, more and more companies willing to invest in it. On top of that, just average people and other people with money. I was working at a guy's house yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week, and he was big on Bitcoin. Huge, really big on Bitcoin. He's a retired man. You know. I think Bitcoin's got a lot of growth ahead of it in the coming years, and even in the coming months. I just think for maybe the coming days, it'll go down a little bit more, and I'll get a better price on it. I'm even ballsy enough to take puts on MSTU, really betting against Bitcoin, but it's what the chart's looking like. And with Bitcoin, the chart, it's pretty reliable, I think. So much of the price movement is based on like investor sentiment, what the investors think of it. There's fundamentals, but not as fundamental as like a company where they have earnings and all this stuff, and so much numbers going on. Crypto's got fundamentals behind it, but not as much. Well, we're getting close to the end of the day. I see that there are no current viewers, I believe. Look like I got 8 total today, so 9, I guess. So one of those is probably me when I checked down on the channel, though. So 8 viewers probably, and 1 thumbs up. Not terrible, I suppose. Keep at it. Hopefully it grows. I didn't get any subscribers out of the mix. Yeah, Bitcoin looking like it's going down for more. Bitcoin is back to the new daily lows, and I think it'll break low this time. Yep. Okay, Bitcoin just broke for new daily lows. Now 622, 111, 622 is the low from midnight last night. So I'd like to see it break lower than that as well. As you can see, when I had this semi-promising move, it couldn't sustain it. Any positive move lately is met with more selling pressure. So the bottom just fell out of Bitcoin. What the market's up to. The market's right at a level that it has been getting rejected from quite a few times lately. Started here when it held steady, which was a reasonable area to hold steady because it supported it here. It held steady for a little bit and then fell through. Got back up to that same level, rejected pretty strongly. Back up to that level and rejected fairly strongly. And now it's back sort of there. So it's in this tight range. And Bitcoin is falling. Let's see, is that making MSTR fall apart? Not so far too much. MSTR is hanging in there a little bit. I don't think that'll continue, though. Okay, well, Bitcoin's recovering from. This is probably just a BS recovery, you know, buying the dip, you know, buying it cheap for new daily lows, but I made the new daily low for a reason. This one-off little buying spree is not going to turn it all around. For me, I'm going to hold the MSTU puts overnight. That's mainly what I'm in. As Bitcoin is going for fresh daily lows, MSTR going for fresh daily lows as well. There it is. What's that? Does that mean? Yeah. Yep, Bitcoin. See, it goes for a daily low. Has this little BS bounce because, like I said, you know, it's a daily low, buy the dip, whatever. But it's not going to be sustained. It went for a daily low for a reason. You know, quickly pulls back to where it was. And there you go. A new daily low. And how does MSTR feel about that? I'd like to see MSTR get to at least 320 for me to satisfy my puts. If it gets to 320, I should make a fair amount on my puts, especially since they expire on Friday, and I'll probably sell them before then. I don't want to ride the Bitcoin bear train for too long because I do like Bitcoin, and I think it's going to recover strong and fast. Oh, it might. I mean, I think it's got the potential to recover strong and fast anyways, just because it'll be at such a good price once it gets below 110. So, once it gets below 110, I'll be pretty cautious to hold it overnight. Going for new lows now. It was 662. Was midnight last night, so we'll see if it breaks that. I gotta stand up and get my leg moving. Oh, my hip flexor's hurting. The market's recovering pretty strong to finish out the day. Bitcoin's not. Even when the market's going up, but yesterday the market had a good day, Bitcoin had a bad day. Bitcoin's diverging from the market even. Feels like something deeper. But it's probably the Civil War issue. Yeah, it just broke the low from midnight last night. Broke for new daily lows. MSTR's got to be feeling that, right? Oh, what? Here's a selling opportunity for MSTR. Bitcoin's at new daily lows and MSTR doing the opposite. It doesn't make sense. I think these MSTR people are just really believers in it, which is fine. I mean, I believe in it too, but you know, it's usually reactant to the price. Okay, the market was recovering pretty strong, but now it had a couple strong pullback candles on the 1 minute. And yeah, Bitcoin, the bottom fell out. Fell below 111,600. I googled Bitcoin news. There's a lot to be bullish about. Bitcoin could join gold on central bank balance sheet in the future. Deutsche Bank says. Morgan Stanley to enable Bitcoin trading for E-Trade clients in first half of 2026. Credit card giants Visa and Stripe team up with Fold to launch Bitcoin rewards card. These are all just within the last day or two. Got PCE numbers coming out on Friday. Personal income, personal spending as well. Tomorrow, new home sales is released. We got 8 minutes left of trading. Bitcoin's down near its daily lows. The market's recovering a little. Market's at a resistance point at this point. If it goes higher than this, that's pretty bullish. Wouldn't really expect that. For tomorrow, I think silver is good. I like the MSTU puts I have. SVIX is probably fine. Shorting the VIX. It broke the resistance, the market did. That's pretty bullish. It did look like it was the big names that were, like a lot of the big names were down more than SPY, so it was probably the big names that were pulling the market down. They probably recover. So SPY or the SPY may be a decent one to be invested in. It's so extended to the high side that it's a little difficult to feel too good about that, but the market is fairly strong. Had a red day today, but looks like it's going to finish strongish. And Bitcoin is not. There's a lot of positive catalysts look like for Bitcoin in the news, and that's still not pulling it up, which is kind of surprising and telling. But at the same time, I'll probably be slightly eager to switch my position and go long on Bitcoin after Bitcoin's next fall from this point. If it gets below 110,000. Because outside of, the chart reading, it would just seem that with so much positive for Bitcoin that, it wouldn't have too much downside. It's already dropped quite a bit. I mean, it was at 117,000 not long ago, 124 for the all-time high, but just a few days ago it was at 117,000. And so, now being down to 111,000 is already dropped quite a bit. Well, we're nearing the end of the day. No current viewers, I suppose. It's okay. Bitcoin is not showing much indication that it's going to turn things around. It just fell a whole bunch, and it's not doing a good job of turning things around. MSTR came back down. It should go for daily lows, but I think people are loving on it. How's Moderna doing? Moderna's hanging in there okay. Moderna's hanging in there okay, but it It bounced when it had positive clinical trials on an updated COVID vaccine. Other than that, it loses a lot of money on their earnings, and they kept beating against this support line here. It was going to fall through until that positive news came out for them. So I keep an eye on them. Their estimated earnings per share for this coming up on is lose $2.02, and that's about what they've been doing. So. Oh, there it is. Look at MSTR. Fall for daily lows. That's what I'm talking about. Right at the close. Let's go. Okay, we just hit the close. The market finished okay. Finished strongish. And Bitcoin, you can't say the same. Now it's wanting to go, though. All right. That's a wrap. I'll leave it there. Good luck, everybody. Catch you tomorrow. Oh, I thought that was how I stopped the stream. I think I stopped it on this one, maybe. End stream.